Yipee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
How did this conversation get started when we started talking about these two movies?
Well,
I forget already.
I mean, the way I remember it is we were just talking about, like, oh, yeah, Kurt Russell came up. And, like, you know about my undying love for Big Trouble
Right, because you're a huge
China.
Russell fan, and I was shocked you hadn't seen Tango and Cash. Right,
oh, yeah,
right.
you must like Tango and Cash. I said, I've never seen Tango and Cash. And you said, what?
To me.
Are you crazy? So I found some time. I watched it, right? And I was like, this reminds me of a lot of another movie that I've seen. Like, well, like it's like the same in a ton of ways.
We have to set the stage, though, first.
Yeah.
You just out of the blue decided to watch Tango and Cash, like the day after we recorded one time. And you start live texting me throughout the whole movie, which was it was a joy. I felt like I was watching it through your eyes. It was fantastic. Because your astonishment at the ridiculousness of that film.
It's absolutely bananas.
It's
just
crazy.
Insane. It was so much more over the top than I was expecting.
I tried to warn you, but there's really no way to explain how utterly goofy it is. Like,
no, you really can't. I get it now. I understand why you didn't even try.
And it's like earnest too. That's the thing that makes it weird. It's aggressively earnest, but it's so ridiculous that I can't even guess at what tone they were trying to strike with it. It's supposed to be an action comedy, I guess, right? Like a buddy cop action comedy movie.
Yeah. It's a buddy cop movie for sure, but like heavy on the action and just utterly ridiculous from top to bottom, including the dialogue. Man, the way they just riff on each other the whole time. Just
we'll get to
everything's
that,
a one-liner.
All right. So this reminded you of something else you said?
Yeah, I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, this is like an over-the-top, absolutely ridiculous buddy cop action movie, and it just like a bunch of different scenarios reminded me of a movie I saw called Showdown in Little Tokyo, and I asked you if you'd seen that movie.
Yeah,
no,
I had never seen that. I think I after looking it up, I've seen the cover in the video store because, I mean, it's Dolph Lundgren in some kind of yoga pose with bullets crisscrossing his bare chest.
Oh,
what have you. And I knew Brandon Lee had done a couple other movies before he died. But I'd never seen any of them.
And we just talked about The Crow.
Yeah, I heard they were not good, so I never wanted to sully.
I
never wanted to sully Brandon Lee in my mind, I guess. But it's been long enough. I think I'm okay now. I saw it and I watched it because Tom told me about it. And
I had the live text experience as well.
Yeah, I paid you back. I got you back.
At home,
damn,
just doing stuff, and then the messages start coming in. They're like, "What the hell did this guy just do?"
There are some fucking moments in that thing. Here, I'm going to actually go and look at this. So you had seen this before? Had you? This is pretty old. It's from '91. Did you watch this as a kid or?
No, I mean, I saw it when I was pretty young, like pieces of it, and I remembered that it was a movie that Brandon Lee was in. And I just knew of it, and I remember like thinking this is weird. And then I found a copy. I had this. There's this one legendary disc in my collection. It was a double-sided DVD with Showdown in Little Tokyo on one side and Bloodsport on the other. And we've talked about Bloodsport. I had both of them on one disc. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe. And then like I watched it in earnest, and I was like, I can't believe I didn't like appreciate all the crazy shit that happens in this movie. And then I watched it 100 times.
This it's a weird one, man. I don't. It's so low budget and so hackneyed. It's just it feels like beating up on a disabled person. Like, fucking talking shit about this movie. I think it's better to appreciate just the audacity of this fucking movie.
Well, yeah, so, if you're gonna look at this thing on its own merits, like you can tear it to shreds, but I think when you kind of put it up against Tango and Cash, I think that's like reason enough to talk about it in a meaningful way, because like it's almost the same movie. It's
I was
like
shocked.
Really, really similar.
I was absolutely shocked at how many similar beats it hits. Like, of course, it's wildly different, but there's a lot of similarities. There really are. It's like a low budget remake almost, and it came out. Tango and Cash came out in '89, and Tokyo came out in '91. So it had been a couple. I mean, I looked up the financials on it, and it did not do well.
Oh,
Tokyo,
no, of course
right?
not.
Nobody saw this fucking thing. I don't think it was like in 160 screens or something. And it is a fucking travesty of a film. Like, it's a shame because you can tell there's a couple people in it that are trying super hard. I think Brandon Lee tried pretty hard, but man, the dialogue is it's like written by a fucking alien or something. Like, it's like if it was new, I would simply think AI wrote it, because it's wildly nuts.
This reinforces my theory that like AI has been around a lot longer than we think.
Skynet.
Yeah. They've had it for a long time. This is just like when it sucked, and then like we're finally seeing the finished product.
So like I was live texting Tom through this movie. The way it starts is there's like this underground fight in some kind of dingy club in, I assume, L.A. Is that right? That's where this movie. No, whatever.
It's like the little Tokyo section of Los Angeles,
and it's like an illegal martial arts fight or something, and fucking Dolph Lundgren swings in like Tarzan, literally on a giant rope. Like, the rope is like a 3-4 inch thick rope. Like, there's huge. No reason this thing would be just up in the rigging above a fucking illegal boxing stage. But nevertheless, my man just swings in and hops in the ring and tries to bust it up. And then people just start mowing each other down with machine guns. It's fucking wild. It just starts that way.
Did you recognize the guy that's running the fight in that garish jacket?
Yeah, he was the dude from Tango and Cash, right?
Yeah,
the guy that Kurt Russell puts the chair on his throat.
Yeah, it's an actor named Philip Tan. I recognized his name in the credits. You know, I was like, oh my god, it's the same. I recognized him immediately.
Was he in anything else? Was he like in martial arts movies and shit? Like, that's your world.
Probably. I have no idea. He probably.
Oh, I thought you might have recognized him from.
No,
no. You know, like a lot of martial arts movies. I have no idea. I haven't seen.
I was not familiar with Philip Tan. It's just like I put on Showdown in Little Tokyo, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the guy from Tango and Cash." I just watched that like 2 days ago.
And then Master Tatsu from the Turtles was in there, right? He was the other dude. He was he faces off against Brandon Lee at the end.
Yeah, he does. He's
so
like
we had the Crow versus Tatsu.
He's like a boss fight. We had He-Man versus Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
We had Shang Tsung is forget the actor's name, but he was Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. He's the bad guy. So He-Man versus Shang Tsung, the Crow versus Tatsu.
That's the dude from Mortal Kombat. That's Cary Tagawa.
Yeah, I think he plays like Yoshida. I think is
Yep, Yoshida. You got it, man. You got it. And Tia Carrera showed up, blew my mind. That was pre Wayne's World, Tia Carrera, and obviously pre True Lies.
Yes, and you know what's funny is like her introduction is they're at like a strip club, a ridiculous, over the top, Well, no, no, I don't even think it was. It's like it doesn't look like any strip club I've ever seen, because like it looks like a restaurant with a stage in it. Like it doesn't look like a grody strip club. But anyway, Tia Carrere's in there singing a song, and she's the only one that like doesn't take her clothes off. She's just putting on a show, which is eerily similar to when Terry Hatcher shows up in Tango and Cash. They're at like a burlesque show, and she shows up and does this insane like 80s dance, and then goes into this like, what was that drummer, Sheena Easton?
Yeah.
I forget which. Yeah, one of them. She's
and that
just
is
playing,
one of the
playing the drums.
That is one of the most 80s scenes ever. Just that song with that costume and that giant fucking hair, and she just stops to play the fucking drums in the middle of her dance. Yeah, it was like an interpretive rock dance or something. Like I don't even know what the fuck that was supposed to be. That wasn't a strip club, I don't think. Yeah, it was some kind of a.
It was more like a burlesque.
Burlesque, yeah, something. But L.A. though, like very L.A.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know. I thought the strip club in Tokyo seemed kind of seedy. I don't know. That's maybe it was just me.
Well, you get the point.
It seemed
though.
grody.
That's your.
That was weird.
That's like they were both eerily similar scenes.
All right, so the setup for this movie isn't very complicated, right? They got Dolph Lundgren, who is he's like a Steven Seagal character. He's like a cop who, I guess, grew up in Japan. Is that his backstory?
I think he had Japanese parentage. He was like raised by Japanese people, and so
that dude
he's
is
like,
so Swedish. That's fucking hilarious. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
whatever.
I got a text from you. It's like so just Dolph Lundgren just lives alone, dressed like a dude in the 50s, but he's also a samurai. It's like,
he lives in a Japanese house in L.A.
Yeah.
Like a full on like paper wall Japanese traditional house, but like. It was 1991. Like Japanese people weren't really living that way, like out in the country, maybe. But he's in the middle of fucking L.A. and he wears like a super high rise fucking biker jacket with what is on the back of it? It's like the symbol of his karate school or whatever the fuck he does. It was like, nuts, dude.
It's like
nuts.
Some rising sun type design
and tight ass jeans, and he's walking around like a foot taller than everybody else in the movie.
Well, no, he's wearing khakis. He's wearing pleated khakis.
Is he really?
Like,
I didn't even
but they're
pay
like
attention.
up to his navel. They're super high.
So he can kick, baby. He's Jean-Claude style, dude.
He had to kick.
That's it. Got to get that kick in, man. He didn't have the. He needed to buy the Chuck Norris jeans. Is what he needed.
Yo, let me tell you, Dolph Lundgren can kick. Like
my man was in shape in this movie too. He was fucking. Not only is he a foot taller than everyone, he's huge. He's pretty young in this. 91. He was still pretty young.
Yeah, and like you get to see full contact world karate champion Dolph Lundgren. Like the guy can fight.
Yeah,
so like the fights, are a little goofy, but he's doing all that stuff. It's not like they're throwing well, number one, good luck finding a body double for Dolph Lundgren.
True.
But he
the same
does
problem with Arnold in the
all
early
those
years.
Scenes.
It's a shame that the director is such a hack, and the film is so. The fight scenes are pretty bad. It's like all that close-ups and tons of cuts, like they did back then. It was a way to get through poor choreography or film faster. And still get a fight scene out of it. They let Brandon Lee do a few things, but it was like one move and then cut. And then like they never got to, there was no flow to any of it. Even with Dolph too, it's a shame. Like the director who did this, he did Commando, Mark Lester. Like he directed Commando, which was kind of like, I don't know, man. I think it's a little overrated. Yeah, definitely over the top. I think it's a bit overrated too. I mean, if you're an Arnold fan, it's a very Arnold movie, and it is. Yeah, it's ridiculous too. You think about it. It's a goofy fucking movie.
The one-liners. I mean, that's like the one-liners are crazy.
Yeah, they're rampant. And he directed Firestarter too, the old one with
the Drew Barrymore.
Yes. Drew Barrymore and George C. Scott and the dude from Officer and a Gentleman. Yeah, that one. So, and that was all I really recognized in his life. And this gem of a film. Holy fuck,
what?
Man.
You know, it's funny. You keep calling this like a gem of a film.
It's special.
The whole reason I like even thought of this movie was because I was watching Tango and Cash, which like, I mean, you were very familiar with. I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. I'm like, what is happening? This movie's insane. And like, yeah, it probably had a bigger budget, and it's definitely the more popular of the two films. However, like oh my God, trying to follow like what's going on in that movie is crazy. There's like a vague mention of drugs. Like they found the drugs. Oh man, these two cops found drugs. And then they don't really explain, you know, who these shadowy drug people are that are pissed at them. They're just
it's Jack Palance, baby.
Drug men. Jack Palance with his mouse maze, right?
His mouse maze and his two
his
weird
wall of TVs.
Yeah, he's got like two like piss boys who just stay in his office apparently and just talk at him and look scared all the time.
Yeah,
they're always there.
Well, that was the other thing too. He's got number one. He's got James Hong is one of his piss boys, as you said, who's also better known as David Lopan. You know, the 7'2", you know, ghost. First you see him, now you don't. And then you had that guy that I don't know his name. He played like Lopez, I think his name was, in Tango and Cash.
Yeah. Mark Alamo is his name. He's a character actor. He was in a bunch of shit back then.
I think I told you this. I found out looking at his IMDb that he was in Total Recall.
Oh, was he?
He was in Total Recall, and
okay.
He's like one of the soldiers that reports to Cohagen on Mars, and with like that scene where Arnold like takes off his disguise and blows the windows out, and he's like, open these doors, and then that guy Mark what's his name, Alamo, he's the one. He's like, they're all connected, you know. And for the longest time, I thought that was Michael Richards from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld, Kramer. You thought that was Kramer?
Yeah. I thought it was Kramer. I really did. And I was like, wow, what an interesting turn for him. He's like a comedian who's only famous for Seinfeld, but he also had this bit part in Total Recall. I thought that for years.
It's like how I thought Melissa George was in Salton Sea, and she just wasn't.
She's not in it, yeah.
She's not. You know who else was in Tango and Cash? You've seen Maniac Cop, right?
I have.
The dude who plays the Maniac Cop.
The Maniac Cop himself?
Yeah. He's the guy with the giant fucking jaw
Oh, that was Robert Zadar?
Yeah, the guy who goes through the truck window in the beginning and then fucks with him in prison and gets electrocuted on the roof.
Robert Zadar was the Maniac Cop?
Yeah, he was Maniac Cop.
I did not know that.
He's credited in Tango and Cash. He's credited as Face. His character's name is Face. The guy with the fucking face. But yeah.
He's got a face.
They even make a joke about it, right?
He's in like, fucking this pig Samurai on the street. Cop.
Is he? He's got a fucking distinctive face, man.
He's the main bad guy in Samurai Cop.
What he says, he's like, on the streets, this pig broke my chin, my ribs, my leg, and my jaw. Like, you broke that jaw?
You broke that jaw?
He doesn't look human. The jaw is like 3 times the size of his fucking head. It's amazing. Perfect for roles like that, though.
It's really something.
And then what? Ron Howard's brother showed up. Yeah, Clint Howard. He gets all tied up with a slinky. Good night, Slinky. Fucking weird movie, dude. But the shower scene. Yeah. What the fuck, man? So strange. Like who blocks that out?
Yeah, well, whatever you say, Minnie Mouse.
It's like, hey, we're supposed to just quip at each other while we're just naked taking a shower alone in prison, and this is okay with you guys? And they spent like 3 days filming that. You know that.
No, I don't know that. Why did they need 3 days to film that?
Dude, that was a complicated scene. There was a soap joke. Like, you got to be careful.
Well, you know what was funny? Right. I remember watching that, thinking I'm watching Sylvester Stallone is standing there like, he's doing his thing. He's just washing up, and the whole time, Kurt Russell is just walking in like this semicircle around him, like 15 times. He's just he's flailing his arms while he's giving his theory about what happened, and he's like running soap through his hair. Yeah, he's all over the place. Yeah,
he's just swinging back and forth. It's fucking glorious. Yeah, I don't even know. What did you think of? I don't even know what to even to fucking ask, man. Like, it's such a strange movie. Like, it has beats. It's paced well. Like, it's not boring. There's no dead spots. Like, did you laugh? Did it make you laugh?
Yeah, I laughed out loud several times. Okay,
but for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? Like,
I don't know.
Like, did the jokes land? Did any of the jokes land? Because there's jokes. The movie's got jokes.
The bulk of the jokes are just like the back and forth between Tango and Cash.
The grenade in the fucking pants thing was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, it was
okay, fine.
Birth control or contraception or something.
I don't remember what he said. I just thought it was kind of funny that it wasn't a real grenade.
Yeah, and then that guy. Here's the thing. As ridiculous as Showdown in Little Tokyo is, there are things in this movie that make way more sense to me than Tango and Cash.
Okay. Tokyo is much more violent for that, for sure. Well, like, I've never seen there's a topless woman gets decapitated.
Yeah, she does.
Then that dude shows a video of him decapitating a topless woman to another woman who he then rapes.
Yeah, because he's counting on the fact that she's going to commit seppuku to preserve her honor. Now, that part makes no sense to me. I don't know why he videos himself chopping that woman's head off. I really don't. And then, just to show it to this other girl, I don't know.
It's his fetish, man. That's how he gets off. Don't kink shame him, dude. Don't kink shame him. That's just how he gets off, man. It's the chain of women. It's the chain of Portia Carrera.
Jimmy's.
Yeah, I guess.
But
that was really violent. That struck me. That whole business. The fight scene in that. Can we talk about the fucking fight scene in Showdown, please?
Which fight scene?
The one in the bathhouse, dude. The bathhouse one. Yeah, the bathhouse one. Jesus Christ! You could have prepared me for that a little bit. Shit.
Well, what did you want? Like, what would I even say?
I don't know. You've never seen Red Heat, right? The
No.
Schwarzenegger movie with Belushi.
No, that's like one of the few Schwarzenegger movies I haven't seen.
You have no frame of reference here, Tommy. There's a bathhouse fight scene in that as well, except it's even more. It's extremely homoerotic. Everyone is a bodybuilder and covered in oil, and they just wrestle around with these huge fake punch sounds and shit. And then they crash through a wall into the snow out of the sauna-like bathhouse. It's fucking weird. There's dudes lifting weights in there, like out in the background for no fucking reason. You got to see that movie. It's a trip.
Yeah, you've recommended it before.
It's not good.
Check that out.
Like, it's not good, but it's funny. Like, it's like this. Like, you'll laugh for mostly all the wrong reasons. Like Jack Palance, and what the fuck was he doing?
I am a so bad it's good type of viewer.
It's true.
So I appreciate that stuff.
That's true. So, yeah, the bathhouse scene where it's just a bunch of dudes in what looks like very dirty, tepid water. Like, I assume it's some kind of traditional Japanese bathhouse. I don't know. I don't know. I have no culture. You
gotta get in touch with your roots, man, like Brandon Lee.
Yeah, he gets in touch, man. He wallows all around in that shit. There is a fire hose for some reason in this bathhouse, and it is jammed into a bad guy's mouth face and turned on like we're in a goddamn cartoon. Like, it made me think of Naked Gun 2. Like, remember he jams and the guy, he puffs up and blows up and buttons go flying. It was funny in that movie. In this movie, it was really weird.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but it was.
It was. This movie looked like garbage too throughout. Like, you could tell Tango and Cash had like 20 times the budget at least, just from how it looked.
Well, they had to feed Dolph Lundgren.
They had to feed Dolph Lundgren, so that's 26% of the budget right there, I think.
Yeah, I bet you he was eating a lot of chicken breast.
But you also had to feed Stallone and Kurt Russell on the other flick, and that weird dude with the ponytail. I bet he eats a lot.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He was in an episode of Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, I remember him from that. I just watched that. Did you? That's a weird one.
That's the one where he's a lumberjack. He works.
I was just gonna say, that's a dark one. That's such a quality freaky ass show. It somehow maintained a tone throughout the entire thing. That weird, jaunty horror tone. It was neat. This guy was in some other shit too. Let me take a look here. We gotta know about him.
He was in Blade Runner.
Yes, when he was young, he was. He was in Blade Runner. He was.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Dennis something.
The actor.
Yeah, I think his name's Dennis.
It's Brian. It's Brian with an O though.
Shit.
Brian James.
Brian James.
He died in '99.
Oh, that poor man.
Yeah, it does happen. Oh no, he was in Knight Rider 2010. That's a shame. Fuck. Yeah, he was in Steel Dawn. You remember Steel Dawn?
No.
Okay. Then this means nothing to you. Someone out there remembers Steel Dawn. It was a fucking Patrick Swayze dystopian future martial arts vehicle. It was like a weird ninja Mad Max. It was not great. Was it
like the sequel to Red Dawn?
No, not in any way.
Okay.
This dude was also in 48 Hours. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, 48 Hours, and I think he was in the sequel too. Another 48 Hours. Neat. Yeah, he was in a lot of shit in the 80s and 90s. He had a bad guy face.
He did have a bad guy face.
I swear he was in a couple horror movies too. I mean, a good vampire.
Probably.
Yeah. So, Jack Palance with the mice. That
made
threw you.
No sense to me. The other thing that threw me from Tango and Cash is like, I get it that they have to go get the bad guys because they're the good guys, right? They go to like the LAPD R&D department, which does not exist.
Yeah, right.
There is no R&D section where they just test the latest cop stuff.
You know what it's like? It's basically a nod to Q's shop in James Bond.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just totally. But it's absurd. Yeah, I mean the LAPD does have some serious fucking hardware, and the
but
SWAT
they don't make
team has an armory for sure.
Yeah, but
they're not manufacturing machine guns that look like really fake Dobermans. It's the goofiest shit. And then how about the giant truck at the end that he just has?
Yeah,
he's just got
that was like another. This is the prototype. There's only one in existence, you know.
Yeah, it's got miniguns on it and shit. Like
that all was crazy, and that like, but okay, I'll go with it. And then they get to the bad guy, like compound, for lack of a better term. And
after going through the fields of bad guys. The construction yard or whatever.
What was that place?
Because they never really
Showdown
kind of
in Little
explained
Tokyo, they wind up at the Red Dragon Brewery, which, for the purposes of the story, is a front. It's a brewery on the outside, but really they're filling the bottles with drugs so they can like smuggle them out. It's stupid, but within the realm of possibility. What was that giant like excavation pit with all that machinery for in Tango and Cash? And why was there a fucking self-destruct button?
I don't know.
They literally, they push a button, and then it's just like, countdown initiated. And they had like, oh, we got 5 minutes until this thing blow. Like, you see that in bad sci-fi movies where the spaceship has a self-destruct, which, like, you could explain, like, well, we want to scuttle the ship so that it doesn't fall into enemy hands. Like, I've never seen like outside of like a Bond movie, a bad guy lair with an actual like self-destruct button, and then they all stayed. Like Jack Palance, they had no plans to go anywhere, so they just were like, they wanted to fight Tango and Cash till the bitter end, but they also planned to stay behind and go blow up in the building. Like,
but they didn't blow up. Everything was fine.
What was the plan?
They didn't have a plan, man. This was it. This was the last showdown.
So, like, even they had the girl hostage.
Jack Palance was really relying on that mirror maze thing to work out for him.
Yeah, but even if it did work, even if it did, he's in the building. That's
I don't recall
blow.
there being a countdown after that. Is that what happened?
Dave,
it's been a minute since I saw the end.
They rescue the girl. They're like, quick, we got to get out of here. The place is going to blow. They run out the door, and then they're like...
after they shoot Jack Palance?
After they've shot Jack Palance. Right. And then this is the part where over Terry Hatcher's head, Kurt Russell just basically asked permission to bone Sylvester Stallone's sister, and they give like
clap hands,
that weird manly high five.
A high five that they hold. Like they slap hands together and just kind of arch them there over Terry Hatcher.
Well, and they needed it for the dissolve into the newspaper shot.
Yeah, that's true. They did need it for that. And they needed it also to show how badass Kurt Russell is, that he was just grinning ear to ear, slapping five with the arm. He just got a fucking bullet through the forearm. But that's cool. That's cool. I did like the giant muzzle flashes coming off the guns at the end, though. That was something special. You mentioned in Tokyo the Red Dragon Brewery.
Yeah.
When they pull up to the fucking brewery, there's a line from Dolph.
It's on right now. It's literally on right now.
Is it right now? Must be the Red Dragon Brewery. Remember, the owner of the club is also the owner of the brewery. In case the audience forgot, or maybe they didn't mention it before, they literally just showed up there for no other fucking reason.
Yeah.
But I did read that this movie... Yeah, that this movie originally was like a full 90 minutes, and it went through some shit because the studio looked at it and was like, this is shit. And they cut it down to like 79 minutes or some shit. That's why, like, there's a couple fight scenes that are just like, it feels like they were set up to be longer fight scenes, and it's like a couple punches and it's fucking over. Like, you can tell they chopped some shit here and there. But man, that was just that's not even nearly the most egregious bit of dialogue from this fucking movie.
What is?
The first one I really loved was, listen, you Shaolin monk samurai asshole. That was something right there. That was really special. That shook me. I wrote that down. The drug conveyor belt. Got to mention that. Like,
the world's largest drug table.
Just rolling out what was, I guess, supposed to be crystal meth, which was the hot new thing at the time, I guess. Because crack was just fucking played out, man.
They'd done crack to death.
Done crack to death? I thought that was crack when she was smoking it out of the weird pipe before she took out her boobs and got her head cut off.
Shang Tsung is currently showing Tia Carrera the video he took of him chopping her friend's head off.
It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to do, bad guy.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's who Johnny.
What?
Where is it? I'm looking for this fucking. I wrote down notes and I'm looking. Yep, there was a sex scene and it was awkward. It was really weird and awkward.
What, the Dolph Lundgren Tia Carrera one?
Dolph and Tia. It was a little strange. The electric torture scene. There's a torture scene involving electricity in both films. Okay, and we have to talk about this because
that's the detail that made me make this connection in my head.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
The one in Tango Cash is ludicrous and crazy. There's a lot of electricity in that film. Tango and Cash are cops, and then they get disgraced because they're set up and accused of murder and of being dirty. and they go to prison together. Apparently, they're just allowed to. They're such good buds that
they let them stay together.
Yeah, they send them to the same prison side by side. But hey, they didn't make them cellmates, so that's realistic. They basically just get kidnapped out of their cells one night by a bunch of prisoners who are just roaming free. They're taken to the laundry, beat up, hung from hooks, and then Jack Palance just shows up in the prison with the guy from Blade Runner, and they proceed to lower them into vats of water, and then zap the water. Okay,
yes.
thereby electrocuting them from the feet up, which does no damage to them, just pain. And they get to do that thing where they pretend to get electrocuted. So, two things I have to bring up from my ashamedly vast knowledge of Stallone movies. He does a lot of shit with prison in his movies.
Like, he really does.
He's never talked about this that I've seen in any interviews or anything, but he has a low-key obsession with fucking prison and escaping prison and just prison. He did another movie called Lock Up, which is not a great movie, about being in prison. And I'm not going to get into the plot, but there is a scene in that in which young Tom Sizemore is laying in some kind of vat of water in a prison, and there's the most crooked evil guard is also in the vat of water, and he sticks a ripped up power cable into the water and kills them both. Kills himself and kills the evil guard.
Okay.
So eerily similar.
But for the fact that it kills them.
Yeah, it kills them. Them it kills. I don't know why Tango and Cash are tougher than that. Though it does take a lot out of them. They look all worn out and shit. I think they were going to kill them, but that guy comes in and saves them, that big fat guy who dies.
Yeah, like the warden.
Yeah. Stallone is also electrocuted as torture in Rambo 2. And at the end of Lock Up, he almost kills Donald Sutherland in an electric chair in the prison.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any other connections, but I might draw them. He goes to prison in Judge Dredd.
He does.
He made three goddamn escape plan movies, which are literally about escaping prisons. The first one is okay. The first one is the one he did with Arnold. Arnold was also in it. It's not good. The rest are awful.
Well, let me ask you a
50 cents
question.
in them.
Have you ever been sucked into like a prison documentary?
Yes.
It's an interesting place.
It is. There's lots of opportunities for drama. It's true. It's high stakes. Like, who doesn't like Escape from Alcatraz?
I find it very interesting,
he did a movie called Victory with Michael Caine. Stallone did when he was young, about POWs in a prison camp in Germany who play soccer. And shit you not, they play soccer, but there's like an escape plan.
In prison. Okay.
Yeah, but there's like an escape plan built into it, and they use it as an excuse to escape. And it's not great, but it's not terrible, and Pele's in it when he was young.
Wait, Pele? Like the real Pele?
The real Pele, yeah. They got him to be in it. Yeah, it's a surprisingly good. Stallone's got kind of a small part in it, to be honest. It's mostly Michael Caine's the lead. It's neat. It's a weird, but again, another prison-themed movie. It's strange. He's an escaped POW in Rambo. He gets caught and put in the POW camp again in the second one. He's always rescuing someone from a POW camp or some kind of confinement, right? It's everywhere in his movies. I've discovered.
Well, I mean, yeah,
undercurrent.
He's got a thing. And
he's got a thing.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, just like when you try to sing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you make rhinestone. Now, let me just say, I'm a huge Stallone fan, but I would never, ever say that Tango and Cash is a good movie. It's a weird movie, and it's oddly entertaining. And I saw it as a child, the first time. And when you're a kid, you think a lot of movies that are quote unquote made for adults, like a lot of shit doesn't make sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then as you get older, you rewatch them, and bits and pieces more and more make sense. This one, you keep rewatching it, and none of it doesn't make any more sense. And in fact, some parts get weirder. Like the dialogue that you always assume, like, oh, well, that must be a thing people say.
That's how people talk.
It's not. No. Some of this shit is not what anyone has ever said before. Or screamed or quipped, or it's weird.
Let me ask you a question.
But
what did you think of the electrocution scene in Showdown in Little Tokyo?
Yeah, that one had one for sure. It reminded me of a similar scene in Punisher that Dolph Lundgren did, where he was strapped to a table.
Or a bed frame.
The funniest fucking thing in Tokyo was that in the one shot, I think when they're starting to get off the electrocution tables or whatever they were, you can see that Lundgren is like way too big for the thing they strapped him to. Like he's like bending enormous. His knees and shit just like to be in frame. And then they do this wide shot and he's just, it's so fucking ridiculous. And Brandon Lee, I don't think is very tall either.
No.
And that's the other thing. Brandon Lee always wears suits, whereas Lundgren wears what we already described, his interesting getup. And in Tango and Cash, Stallone as Tango always wears suits.
He's a suit guy, yeah.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell is the more street casual dude, in jeans and a fucking sports team shirt and shit, with a vest on at all times.
Right.
Natch.
Yeah, it's like the same dynamic between the two teams.
Brandon Lee has some fucking lines. Though
yeah,
he had to act, man, that was some tough acting to commit to some of those fucking lines, dude. Like what was it? Let's go. We're gonna come back and eat sushi off these naked chicks.
We're gonna get the bad guys, and then we're gonna come back and eat sushi off those naked chicks.
Because they were in one of those restaurants where they serve sushi on naked women. That was like a thing back in the day.
Yeah, and then and even when they're strapped to the bed, they're like supposed to be in pain, but they're still taunting the people that have them held captive. Yeah. They're like, you guys better remember to turn us and baste us every 20 minutes. That's right, you fucking idiots.
That's right, you baste us, goddammit. I like when they were going to the car crusher, like, where are we going? Someplace bad.
Yeah, it's listen, it's awful. I did warn you that it's awful. But
yeah, man, but
it was more of an experiment to see like how close to Tango and Cash it is.
I wasn't prepared for Dolph to put on some weird ninja costume for the final showdown, like complete with a rising sun headband or whatever the fuck he was wearing.
But then
Jesus
he just goes in
Christ.
and he goes in guns blazing with like an M16.
Yeah, yeah.
What was with all the ninja calisthenics beforehand if you're just going to shoot the place up?
Just mowing motherfuckers down, dude. And I swear to God, it's a director's thing because Arnold holds the M16 like a pistol in Commando, and he had Dolph do the same thing because he probably realized she's more gigantic, so it'll look even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
the one guy bigger than Arnold.
He's definitely taller than him. Arnold, I think, was only 6 foot at his in his youth.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's like
6'6"
or something. Like, he's huge.
Big sumbitch, man. Yeah, that's Rocky IV was a hell of a height difference.
Oh yeah, how tall is Stallone?
I don't know, like in Hollywood height, I think he's supposedly 5'10". So who knows?
Jesus, it's like my height.
Yeah, he's not a tall dude. He's got gigantic hands.
Who?
Stallone.
Does he?
When I was a kid, they opened a Planet Hollywood in Atlantic City on the boardwalk. And we went, me and my parents went. I was young, very young. and we went to go see it. And out front, they had a display because it had just opened, and it had all of their handprints in concrete on this display. Okay. And then they were going to put it in the restaurant later. And it was all the owners, like Bruce Willis, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and I forget who the fuck else was there at the time. But I remember my dad put his hands in all of them. And Arnold's hands were about the same size as his. And Stallone's hands were fucking gigantic.
Really?
Like, yeah, like gorilla hands. It was fucking crazy. And
a couple of catcher's mitts.
Yeah, and ever since then, I looked at it in movies. His hands are fucking huge, dude. He's got paws.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? But yeah, I always thought that was funny. Remember Planet Hollywood? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I remember Planet Hollywood. That place is cool.
It's not around at all anymore, right?
I think they closed.
Yeah. It was cool when you were a kid and you didn't know how much everything cost. I'm looking for something. Hold on.
Well, don't worry. I'll pass the time by watching Dolph just killed the guy in the bathhouse with the fire hose.
Fucking amazing. All right, I can't think of it. What the fuck is the Tia Carrera line after they bone?
I'll tell you. It's a callback.
I forget. Yeah, you said it was a callback, but I forget.
I gotta set it up for you.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
Dolph Lundgren has just saved Tia Carrera from the bad guys, and he's like, I gotta go do something. You wait here, and he gives her a shotgun. He goes, kill anybody that comes through the door, and she goes, what if it's you? And he says to her, you won't hear me coming.
Right.
And it's literally on the screen right now. He sneaks up behind her, and he quickly just takes the shotgun when he gets back, so she doesn't kill him. So he was right. She didn't hear him coming. So
he's gigantic but stealthy.
But he's a stealthy cat-like blonde ninja. So later on, they go to hole up at some place he's got set up, and some sparks fly, and they wind up in the sack together, and they're just like they just finish.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, that was great. And then she rolls over and she looks at him. She goes, that time I heard you coming. And I was like, oh, Jesus. It's like the mother of all stupid one-liners.
Not nearly. What?
Yeah.
What do you think? Brandon Lee's line?
Yeah.
All right. So he says he is amazed at Dolph Lundgren's penis. He's really into it. Like, he says something about
they're about to, while they're right after they finish, getting down, like some dudes show up to ambush the house, and then Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee start getting ready to defend it, and then Brandon Lee's
Dolph does it naked.
Yeah, Brandon Lee's like, yo, just in case we don't make it through this alive, I just want you to know you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Yeah, that's the line. Before that, he says something about, like, of course you scared him, like, indicating that his hog is so big. Yeah. It's frightening. And then, he just drops that, apropos of nothing. Just lays it out there, baby. And I read, you know what I read? I read that the line was originally supposed to be that it was the biggest dick he'd ever seen on a white man. It was supposed to be the line. And they made him, they changed it for some reason. Like, they felt weird about it or something. I think that would have made a lot more sense and been a lot more funny. Funnier.
I don't know, man.
It was a weird thing to just... there was no, like... It wasn't a callback to anything. There was no established, like, ribbing about dicks or earlier dick joke. It is out of fucking nowhere.
And you know what? It may have made sense in Tango and Cash because, like, they have that shower scene.
They're naked together a lot, yeah. And then Kurt Russell's in that dress for a while, and it was just swinging around.
I wasn't ready for that.
He leaves that dress on for a surprising amount of time, right?
Yeah, he's in it for like 3 scenes.
Yeah. I just watched the guy with the giant jaw get electrocuted on the roof. More electricity and water. Yep. In the pouring ass rain, raining like I've never seen rain before. And then they have to jump on the cable, and they have the great lesson about how not to get electrocuted when grabbing onto an electric cable in a storm.
That scene was nuts, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know how many people on this earth have the upper body strength to do. The thing that's most ridiculous is that they jump off the roof to grab a power cable, and they just hit it. Like their hands just right there. You know? I don't, it's so ridiculous.
I mean, they, from the way they filmed it, like they did that. Like they jumped out and they grabbed the cable. You know, I mean...
I don't know, dude. I just watched it. They go to close-ups of hands grabbing the cable, and then he's like hanging on the cable with like you can't see his feet. He's standing on something, and they get the belt in their teeth, and then throw it over and zip line down. I mean, it's an interesting prison escape. I was cool. Into it. They make a pretty solid bit about it on Always Sunny about how it teaches you how to not get electrocuted. And he's like, I'm going to bet my life on something you learned from Tango and Cash. And, I thought it was valid. It does make sense.
It does track. Yeah.
Yeah, like they taught us that in school. If you're not grounded, you won't go anywhere. It won't go through you because why?
You ever see those electricians that they call it bare handy?
I don't know, maybe.
These guys, they work on the high tension lines, and they literally have a helicopter pilot come in from the side, and they put this wand out, and you could see this giant arc of electricity hit the wand that the guy's holding, and then the guy eases the helicopter in,
that.
And then they clip on and become part of the circuit. But because they're not on the ground, it doesn't electrocute them. It's insane.
Science, baby, science.
It's one of the highest paying jobs like you can get because it's so fucking dangerous.
So you admit Tango and Cash got it right. Fantastic.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, why not?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, man.
You know what I like?
Credit where credit is due.
I like the part where Kurt Russell goes to that audio expert's studio and just starts shooting the shit out of his fucking machines with a shotgun.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's the dude. He was in the Fisher King, and he was on that show.
He's from. He's in Fear and Loathing.
Oh yeah, he's the drug conference guy.
Yeah. The one that tells that stupid joke.
Cool guys.
If he can become hip.
Yep. One notch. Becoming cool. Be one of those cool guys. Smoking this cigarette, he's all drunk, like an ash falling over himself.
That's where I know him from. Yeah.
He was on. I forget what he was on. He was on a show for a long time too. It was kind of. I think it might have been that Burt Reynolds show, that Evening Shade. You remember that show?
No,
probably not.
Of course not.
It was terrible. I didn't understand it. It was just always on commercials, man.
Oh man, what else? God, both of these movies are fucking insane for different reasons.
So you asked me this while you were watching it, but what did you think of how long they held the secret that she was his sister, that she was Tango's sister, Terry Hatcher?
I don't know. Like, you okay over there?
I'm dying. Jeez. Oh, they're gonna make it, man.
They did hold out that tidbit for a long time, and I wondered it in the beginning, and at first I thought daughter, but I was like, no, she's too old to be his daughter. Like he would have to have had her when he was 12, you know. But yeah, and I was like, there's got to be some connection. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel one way or the other about it. I just remember wondering, there's so much
set up that funny scene with the massage.
So
on the
much
couch.
zany shit happens in between when you first meet her and when she shows up again that you kind of forget about that plot point. At least I did, because all the prison shit happens.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of pieces. There's chunks of different story. Because there's the prison part, which doesn't even last that long, and then they're on the run for a little while.
Right.
Stallone goes and interrogates that cop who ends up getting killed, and then Kurt Russell goes and dresses up like a woman and finds Kiki. Yeah. And then they meet up again, and then there's the big climax, the assault, you know?
Oh, God. The assault.
The assault. It seemed to really piss you off, the assault.
Well, it didn't piss me off. It just like, it was just all of a sudden you got to see the breadth of this guy's, the breadth of this guy's empire and all the stuff he had at his disposal.
Jack Palance, you mean?
Jack Palance, yeah. Jack Palance and his fucking mice. I'm sorry. As a bad guy, he bothered me. He's just like, gentlemen, I will do the thinking, you know. And
he was so Jack Palance-y.
These fucking mice. Like he's just like, oh,
well, it's not even the
beautiful.
mice. It's the fact that he has this elaborate plexiglass maze, like as a table, with apparently no other reason except maybe, I guess, to keep the mice entertained, but also to use them as metaphors whilst talking to his two piss boys
for his nefarious plot.
His nefarious plot, which is so fucking stupid too. Like the writing is so lazy. I don't know though. Does it have a charm? Is that what we walk away from? Does it have that?
Of course. Listen, when it was done, I was like, I was glad I watched it. I was very entertained by it. It's still just, I think I liked it because of how zany it was. It was just absolute madness from start to finish.
I kind of felt the same way after Tokyo, because I felt it's not nearly, doesn't have the same tone at all. Like, it's not even close. But it does, like we said, it follows some of the same beats. It's not paced poorly. I'll give it that. It keeps moving.
It does move.
And that just means one ridiculous thing after another. And shit coming out of nowhere and just making you go like blink and shake your fucking head. Like the penis, like the dick line. Just like, what the fuck just happened, man? Or the decapitation scene was nuts to me.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
And he chops that dude's hand off, man.
Oh, the biker?
Yeah, who he's trying to work with. Like, he's trying to set up a business relationship, and he just chops this fucking guy's hand off just to prove a point.
Well, the guy was talking shit.
Being a dick. I know.
He had to make example of him.
He had to talk shit so that he could cut his hand off with the fucking katana that he was just carrying.
Well, I mean, he's Yakuza. That's how he rolls.
Yakuza. Yeah, that was the hot bad guy for a little while there in movie world.
Yakuza? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see Black Rain with Michael Douglas and young Andy Garcia?
No.
Yeah, that's a tremendous film.
Is it good?
It's not bad. It's kind of like a cop mystery. It's a hard boiled, I guess you would say. Kind of one of those really not ultra violent, but definitely violent thrillers, of that era. It's dark and very adult. I remember that was like a grown-up movie. I used that in my head as a template for grown-up movie for a long time. Yeah, check it out if you ever come across it.
I'll check. Is it on the super secret server?
It might be. If it isn't, it's gonna be.
I'll have to look for it. Oh man, but yeah, like I guess you had asked me a question, like why the assault pisses me off.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, what is that place? I'm watching Little Tokyo right now. There's a nightclub, which is a cover. There's a brewery, which is a front for an illegal operation. There's a junkyard, which is a cool place to hole up, but also serves a legitimate purpose in society, right?
Yeah.
And you can crush cars there, and you can hide bad guys in them. What is that place where Jack Palance and his henchmen are holed up? Like, what is it?
I don't know, dude. Like I always just assumed it was a quarry, maybe. Because it was an excuse to have all those giant trucks and earth movers everywhere. And it's dark, so you can't really see. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good place to shoot a whole bunch of shooting for a while. It's inexpensive.
Even those giant trucks that they had going, they're like monster trucks. They weren't even like excavators or anything. Some of them were just full on fucking monster trucks, which means like they're literally just their sole purpose is to patrol that giant dirt ramp bad guy lair. You know, he's just like, oh, I have this hideout. I have all these natural dirt ramps. I'd better get some monster trucks to, like, you know, guard the perimeter. It's just that was a head scratcher for me.
They could have used a little explanation, but what are you going to do? There was a little warehouse full of guns. That was cool.
Yeah, they did. They had like a goddamn armory set up, and they're just, you know, just arming themselves to the teeth. You know, so you solve the problem of, you know, how do they, you know, get in there and not run out of ammo when they mow down 100 guys.
They don't concern themselves with such things in this movie. I looked up some trivia for this. I think it's funny to note Jack Palance apparently told a story on The Tonight Show after he made this flick. He said that when he first got the script, he took the role because there were a bunch of scenes with him and Stallone together. And
they don't get any scenes.
No, then he got the final script and everything had been cut to keep the movie tighter, and he never even saw Stallone during filming. Like, they were never on the set at the same time. He never even saw him. So
interesting.
Yeah. And also, you'll be interested to note that Kurt Russell was stepping in for Patrick Swayze in this movie.
What? Patrick Swayze was supposed to be Cash?
Yep, he was originally cast, but he dropped out to do Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah. I can't say I'm sad about that because then we would have had Roadhouse.
Yeah, yeah. But he had a legit reason. Wait, hold on. I wrote something down here. He dropped. Okay, I don't think he dropped out to film Roadhouse. I think he was supposed to be in Tango and Cash, but he hurt his knee during Roadhouse, right? So he took Ghost instead of Tango and Cash because it was way less action heavy. And that ended up being a huge fucking movie.
Oh, Ghost was enormous.
Jesus Christ, I hated it as a kid. I remember watching it for the first time. I don't know what compelled me. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll watch it. To be honest, I was probably, no, whatever. And it was actually kind of dark.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't realize his best friend murdered him and shit.
Dark.
Had him killed, and like there was parts that were like almost scary. Like you could tell they were trying.
Oh, who's that tall Italian guy that plays the ghost in the subway?
On the subway platform? Yeah, I never remember his name.
That guy's creepy. He's got a real Italian last name.
He was in so many
Michael
things.
Schiarelli or something?
Yeah. He was definitely creepy, the creepiest part. And Whoopi Goldberg was pretty good. It's actually a good movie. It's one of those movies that was popular and actually was pretty good. It's a weird one.
It became like one of those like memes before the internet, just like stuff that you did. Like for instance, I worked in a meat room, and like more than a handful of times, I would come up behind somebody while they were like mushing a bunch of ground beef in a bowl, you know, and I would just come up behind someone and like put my hands over theirs while singing Unchained Melody.
Pottery, man. I remember so many movies spoofed it. Like Naked Gun did it. Like so many movies spoofed that shit. SNL had skits. For years too. For years. Yeah, movies don't have that kind of staying power anymore. That cultural impact. There's just too many. They come too fast. I think
I remember Naked Gun doing it, and they just had like 18 pairs of hands coming in on the same like ball of clay.
Just feet coming out.
Feet.
And she reaches into his pants and pulls out a big ball of clay that he had stuffed in his crotch. That's right. Like, remember, every time they show his body, it's like a bodybuilder's torso.
It's like rock hard abs.
Yeah, huge pecs, rock hard abs. And then it's fucking Leslie Nielsen's face. They're remaking that with Liam Neeson, and I don't know.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I don't know. I don't know if I even want to see that.
They're remaking everything.
Okay, so I looked it up. It's a quarry. That is what it is. It's a quarry.
All right. Do they ever mention?
It says the climactic battle in the quarry was shot in a real quarry in Irwindale, California, east of Los Angeles. Every shot was filmed with a minimum of 11 cameras. Sometimes the setups were so dangerous, the stunt team was only allowed to do them once.
Yeah, don't mess it up.
Hot trivia.
All right. Well, it was a quarry. So, like, again, like, you could use a brewery to hide your, what do they call it, ice in the bottles. You could launder money through the nightclub, and it's like a headquarters. Like, why is he just chilling in a quarry?
It's isolated. No reason for cops to go there, or they'd have to have a warrant to get to the building.
It's equipped with a self-destruct mechanism. I can't get my brain around the self-destruct. Like, I know what to do.
A quarry would have explosives.
Self-destruct. Yeah, but why
quarry
would you
have
wire
explosives
them up
on hand? And
to
I don't
blow
know, man.
up the building that you had no intention of leaving?
Stallone did it in The Specialist, man. He had his whole crib wired to blow. Okay.
Well, I mean, The Specialist was about a bomb guy. So yeah, naturally the bomb guy is good at bombs. He's a bomb doctor.
He was a bomb doctor.
It was a bomb doctor.
James Woods was a piece of shit. It was great.
Oh, he was. I like that movie.
I found a neat piece of Kurt Russell trivia looking at shit for this movie, too.
Tell me.
Did you know he was originally offered the role of Riggs in Lethal Weapon?
No.
Yeah. He turned it down. And Mel Gibson got it, and then the two of them were in Tequila Sunrise together.
I saw Tequila Sunrise. Is that the one with...
It's not bad.
Who's that, Michelle Pfeiffer or Goldie Hawn?
Michelle Pfeiffer. Goldie Hawn is Bird on a Wire.
I saw that,
That's just Mel Gibson. Yeah, I watched that way too many times. My Aunt Rosie was... she was a sucker for, like, the cheesiest movies of all time. Like, she's the one who exposed me to Howard the Duck. She liked Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
And that was one of her favorites, was Bird on a Wire. That was her tone. She loved that shit. So I watched that a lot.
I saw that in a pizza shop.
Yeah? You remember?
Yeah. I saw it in a pizza shop. My wife was in college, and like I was visiting, and there was just nothing to do, and she had like homework to do, and she's like, I don't want to go back to the dorm room. So Bird on a Wire was playing in the pizza shop, so we just sat there and watched the whole thing and just ordered a couple slices.
Very simple memory, but that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's the only time I ever watched a movie in a pizza shop.
I remember on our honeymoon, my wife and I went to a place and it was unexpectedly closed. We ended up going to a pizza place in Vermont. And yeah, we just kind of went in there and watched sitcoms on TV. It was strange. It was like going back in time. It was weird. Great pizza too. The red booths and an old tube TV on a big shelf up in the corner. It was
nice.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever do that again. Quite like that.
Well, to come back to things, right? Right now, Shang Tsung is about to blow up his own spot in the brewery where the drugs are, but he's doing it to get away, and he's using gasoline, right? Which one might have?
There's a lot of gasoline in that place, though.
There's a lot of gasoline.
There's an absurd amount of things.
Well, they're also in like a giant.
It's
meth
labeled
lab.
gasoline. It's labeled gasoline, so that's convenient.
Yeah.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Is that gasoline? Yeah. Why didn't have Brandon Lee deliver that line? But yeah, so they both have to blow up the place to get out of there. They're both
that's true.
Blowing up their headquarters to get out, right? Only Jack Palance doesn't make it out, but Shang Tsung does.
You know what I liked? I liked how there's an interesting difference. Tango and Cash kind of tried to keep the two characters even as far as like there was no like lead and sidekick. Whereas Brandon Lee was definitely supposed to be Dolph's sidekick. Like he even gets the last fight against the bad guy's sidekick. You know, like they go against each other, and then Dolph fights the main bad guy. So like that was really, really clear. Whereas in Tango and Cash, each one of them get to kill one of the other henchmen, one of the sub henchmen, and then they like literally both shoot Jack Palance at the same time. With their backup guns, right?
Yeah, the two shots dumb. Both hit side by side, right on his forehead.
Yeah, they can't even like claim one got it. And don't they even like try to argue about who shot first a little bit? I forget.
Well, no. They say we want him alive. What do you think? Just each take a kneecap on 3. Right. They count to 3,
and they both shoot him in the forehead,
blast him in the head. And they're like, "How'd you know which one was him?" And then they're like talking about
watch on the wrong hand, and then
is the ring on the wrong finger?
Yeah, and the monogram was backwards or something. The other one, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, and it's like it's not even like old fashioned. I don't even know what to call it. It's just like an uber. It's just that era of action movies, you know, turned up a bunch of notches. So because it's a comedy, right? You know. And that's what you get, apparently. I don't know. It's not... I'll watch it. It's fun for nostalgia's sake, and it's fun for just being goofy, man. There's a lot of shit to laugh at, and a lot of weird choices. It is a lot of weird choices were made in that movie. Just like Tokyo. Just like Showdown in Little Tokyo. A lot of weird choices, a lot of weird dialogue, a lot of... I very much I didn't have Showdown, but I imagine if you watched it when you were younger, you developed a lot of weird favorite parts. Like you had a pretty intimate relationship with that weird movie that you probably would never make anyone else watch with you. I would have made you watch it with me eventually. Right. I can't believe it took you this long.
What, for Tango and Cash? Yeah.
No, for you to make me watch Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Well, I know you're not a martial arts guy, right?
Yeah, and this, still, man, that's so cheesy. I love it.
This lives firmly in martial arts land. But I think, that's the thing. The thing that made me recommend it was like, oh, my God, this is like the Temu version of Tango and Cash with like with just more martial arts in it.
More violence, more martial arts. Yeah,
this movie's violent as hell. Right now, He-Man just stapled Shang Tsung to that pinwheel thing. The fireworks pinwheel.
That was a hell of a death scene, man. It was a hell of a death scene.
Yeah, he's been impaled. He's spinning. There's fire everywhere.
You know what it reminded me of? I guess that's a thing, but it reminded me of when you were a kid, you had that thing with the syringe-like plunger, and it spun that wheel that made sparks as it spun around. Yeah. You remember that?
I remember those.
It was like it was all metal, and it felt like it could hurt you, but it couldn't. That's what it reminded me of, but way more violent. Like way more violent.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Which pair do you like better, Tango and Cash, or I don't even know their names at all, Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee?
Nope. I don't know. I kind of like Tango and Cash better.
Yeah, me too. Of course.
The weird subservience.
It's 2 leads.
Yeah, the weird subservience in the Dolph and Brandon relationship is very, very strange. When coupled with the dick comment, it just left me feeling weird. Maybe I should see it again, but
it's Detective Kenner and Johnny Murata.
Johnny, right? Johnny. Fucking hi, Johnny. Oh, hi, Mark. His name Johnny. Maybe he also a vampire. Johnny. Who the fuck is Johnny?
Which one had a better bad guy?
Which one had a better? Oh, fucking Tokyo for sure.
Yeah, man. Shang Tsung with his weird penchant for chopping heads off and filming it and saying, "Hey, look what I did last night with your friend."
He had the scenes. He had terrible dialogue to work with, but man, he really tried his best to sell it. Like, he has a good bad guy face, man.
He's got a good glower.
Yeah, that's the word, glower, man. Yeah, sure, definitely, he's better than the bad guy.
He makes that one dude chop his pinky off in shame for losing the
girl.
Then
kills him. Kills him.
He hands it to him wrapped up in a hanky. He goes, here's my finger. And then he just he stabs him
right in the chest anyway, man. Just wanted to make him do that first.
Which one had better action?
Better action. Oof. I don't know, man. They're both kind of, I guess spectacle-wise, Tango and Cash did.
Yeah, it was way more over the top.
There was more violence, like we said, in Tokyo, but
there's some. It's gory in parts.
Yeah, and Tango and Cash definitely had the expensive pyrotechnics of the time and squibs and shit. I don't know what Tokyo was working with, man. It was it was on the lower end of back when you could not make action look good without much of a budget. Right. It was really hard. You had to have, I don't know what you had to have. You had to have like talented fighters in the roles and like dedication. I don't know. I can't think of too many low budget movies with good fights.
Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee are both like very, very accomplished martial artists.
Yeah, but like I said, like you didn't get to see Brandon Lee do much. Like he does a couple like backflip things and like springs from his hands a couple times, but they cut away so quick. Like it was the opposite of the way they filmed his dad.
All you had to do was just put the camera on him.
Yeah, it also would have been cool if him and Dolph had a reason to square up, like when they first met or something, like maybe some kind of a homoerotic scene in the gym or something. But again, they cut the shit out of this movie. Yeah, that would have been neat. But they cut like we said, they cut the shit out of this movie. So it's
right.
You can feel it too. You really can feel, and they preserved a lot of the bad guy stuff because it was probably more interesting.
Right.
Let's be honest. And most buddy cop movies, that's the dynamic. They're equals. They have differences, and some or one is better at one thing and the other. Like think of Martin and Martin Riggs and Murtaugh.
Oh yeah.
Seasoned vet, but he's getting old. Young and fucking impulsive. Martial arts, but crazy. Impulsive, crazy. They balance each other out, but they're not one is dominant over the other. Which makes Tokyo is just weird for that beat to me, man. It's just very strange.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, so let me ask you which one had a better climax since we've talked about it, and now that you know it's a quarry.
Now that I know it's a quarry, I think Tokyo, because you get the fights. You get like the where everybody kind of squares off with their little nemesis. There's some gunplay. There's some explosions. You get a sword duel, at the end in the street. Like I love how they both pick a ceremonial like sword off a guy in a parade, and it happens to be razor sharp.
Yeah,
sharp enough to kill somebody. And then
if Dolph wasn't wearing that goofy costume, it would have been way cooler. Like
he
just
literally
throws it
does
for
like
me.
Calisthenics and like trains before he runs in there and shoots the place up.
The guy has Tia Carrera hostage, has her hostage, doing all kinds of who knows what perverted things to her, and he takes the time to go home into his like dojo and fucking do some forms and shit and just center his mind before getting in his little samurai costume and running off to shoot people with M16s. Like, I don't know.
And Shang Tsung he blows up the place to get away. Whereas Jack Palance was like, I'll blow the place up and I'll stand right smack in the middle of it while it counts down to like 2 minutes. It made no sense.
Oh, note.
What is he doing?
since we're talking about this, a note on the firearms.
Okay.
First, during the assault, when Tango and Cash are still in the like tricked out SUV, Tango is using a Calico pistol.
Oh yeah.
You asked me about this gun when we wanted to go see The Crow because that's the gun Tony Todd is using. Now it's just like a 9mm pistol, but it's huge. It's huge because it has a 50-round magazine on it, and it's a cylindrical magazine that goes on the top of the gun. It was one of those out there designs from the 80s that wasn't around for very long, but it was really distinctive looking. So it got into a bunch of movies. It was actually the same pistol that Arnold used in Total Recall in the beginning. When the guys from the construction crew he worked on come to get him before he goes to Mars.
You blabbed, Quaid. You blabbed about Mars.
Yeah, that's the gun he ends up with and shoots them with, is the Calico. And there's a submachine gun version, too, that's longer with a stock that shows up in some movies. It's just like there's so many. There's like, I don't know, if you look on the website that keeps track of this shit, there's so many credits for the Mossberg 500 in a bullpup configuration because it looked futuristic. It was in everything from RoboCop to that was the shotgun Tony Todd used at the end in the church in The Crow. Yeah, and it was like a home conversion kit. You can turn a Mossberg 500 into a bullpup shotgun, and they still kind of sell it. But anyway, the other thing in Showdown in Little Tokyo, Dolph is carrying a Desert Eagle pistol, and I can't tell what it was chambered in. I don't think there were any good shots of the bore, but it could have been anything from. I don't think it was in 357 back then, but it was definitely in 44 and 50 AE. And either way, that magazine isn't holding more than 7 or 8 rounds, depending on what it's chambered in.
Right.
And I don't think he carries 2 mags on his belt. I don't think he ever reloads in the whole movie.
No.
Not that Tango and Cash do either.
He reloads once, but you may have missed it because right after that he tips over a car all by himself.
Does he? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
he flips the red car on its side.
Brandon Lee does do a reload. I remember because it's demonstrative. He like flicks out the mag from his Beretta and pops in a freshie, and I was like, wow, that's kind of. I wonder if he had any training before that because I doubt he got training for this movie, but it looked like someone had taught him some movie gun shit. He carried a John McClane special.
Nice.
In that. It's very, very plain. Very cop-like. That actually would have been what LA cops were carrying at the time. That's actually accurate. So that's cool. I don't know. I'm glad I watched it. Thank you. That was a trip.
I'm glad you watched it too, man. My pleasure.
Blast.
And thank you for hounding me to watch Tango and Cash after all these years. It was, I loved it. For all I had to say about it, I loved it. It's so goofy.
The final sequence, the climax of that is so over the top. But I mean, like I said, it's action movies of that time. You get a bunch of fireballs, a bunch of random dudes getting shot, tons of henchmen getting wasted.
Oh my God.
The good guys never get shot more than like a grazed wound or just something to bleed and look cool.
When Kurt Russell gets shot, he's like, he goes, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It was a clean hit."
Yeah, in and out.
What does that mean?
In and out. It went right through. It's fine because it went right through my forearm and shattered all the bones in it. I love the muzzle flashes in that sequence. They are literally 4 or 5 feet long. I have no idea what the fuck they put in those blanks. But it must have been a hell of a recipe because fuck, man. It just looks wild. It's like they're shooting lasers. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, he's pressing the self-destruct button now. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a.
What's the plan?
Yeah, man, I don't know. They got 12 minutes, and that's not a long time. Raiders can score 3 touchdowns in 12 minutes. Yeah, but they have 4 timeouts. The banter is not great, but it's It'll make you laugh a little bit. It's so goofy.
They take it down to the wire. Like when they have Tango and Cash dead to rights because they throw the guns on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have the girl, they have Kiki, right?
Kiki. Yeah.
And then that dude with the ponytail.
Yeah.
They just like they make them throw their guns down, and rather than just like take them prisoner again or shoot them, they're like, "All right, let's fight," and they throw their guns down too, and then they have a fist fight and lose.
That's true.
What was the plan? You just
see, okay.
It was just an excuse to get him to fist fight, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, who ends up killing him? Ponytail.
I think Kurt Russell kills him.
Okay, yeah, because they both just each shot one of the piss boys.
Yeah.
Oh, and the one Kurt Russell didn't kill all the way. He's the one who shoots him in the arm. I forgot that. I thought he got shot by Ponytail.
No,
yeah,
so Kurt...
I fall asleep during this movie a lot now. I hardly ever make it to the end. Even if when I decide to watch it, I don't make it too far usually.
Kurt Russell kills the Ponytail. And Sylvester Stallone gets into a fight with like some rando henchman that comes out, and it looks like he's a martial artist. So it's like a legit fight.
Oh, Deus Ex henchman. Okay.
Yeah, Deus Ex henchman.
Yeah, and Ponytail has that straight razor he likes to carry around like a tough guy. Yeah. That makes you hate him.
Yeah.
They blow him up with a grenade. That's right.
He puts the grenade in it back in his pants.
Plan C. Plan C. That's a great delivery from Russell for that one, though. Like, I love that. Russell has, I think of Backdraft when I think of his, like, strained, I'm in pain delivery that he does. And I just love it so much, man. I love Backdraft. Like,
Backdraft is great.
I feel there's certain movies that for an actor, I watched them on repeat for a long time, and I feel like that's why I know the actor so well. And man, I watched Backdraft way too much. Like, you watch The Thing a lot, I watch that a lot.
If you go, we go.
We go. And it's so bad. Like, watching it now, it's so cheesy. But I still love it. And the fire effects, you'll never see them make a movie like that again with that many actors that close to fucking real fire. That much real fire, they never would do that without CG today. It's too dangerous. It must have been wildly dangerous to do that. That was Ron Howard. That was one of his earlier successes.
I like that movie. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. It's not a good movie.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it now.
I mean, it's fairly predictable. A lot of it is really cheesy, but like there's great parts too. Like Kurt Russell's great throughout the whole thing. De Niro's fantastic. I mean, Billy Baldwin is what he is. Like, he's honestly the weakest part, I think, and he's just doing Baldwin shit, which is fine. I don't know. I like a lot of it, and like I said, I watched it a lot growing up, and I remember when that came out. Like, that was one of those big tentpole movies, and that was one of those movies your dad liked, you know?
Yeah.
Like, your dad loved Backdraft. Everyone's dad loved Backdraft and rented it and then taped it or bought it.
Yeah, because everyone's dad knows a firefighter.
Yeah, that's true. And it had, like, all the cast was incredible. Like, absolutely incredible. And a snapshot of actors at the time. Some who went on to bigger and better things, and some who were, you know, Billy Baldwin. And plus, like, veterans. Like, you had De Niro and Donald Sutherland in it, and Scott Glenn, who makes everything he's in better.
Scott Glenn. I like Scott Glenn.
I love Scott Glenn, dude. He's fucking baller. I don't know. I can't think of anything I didn't like him in. Fucking Jack Crawford in Silence of the Lambs, man. He was so cool in that small role.
He was in Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch? I don't remember
Remember
that.
Sucker Punch? It was some awful Zack Snyder movie.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh, Dave.
He was in the Daredevil show. He played Stick.
He was Stick.
He was, that was one of the more recent things. He's been in so much shit. But, you had, even Rebecca De Mornay was Kurt Russell's estranged wife or separated wife. Jennifer Jason Leigh was Jennifer, who was William Baldwin's love interest. And you had J.T. Walsh as the smarmy politician guy.
Who's J.T. Walsh?
Oh, he was that character actor who was in... that was his bread and butter. He played smarmy politician in, like, everything. He was in Needful Things. I mean, if you saw his face, you'd know him.
J.T. Walsh. Who is this man? I'm going to find out.
He played Swayzak.
Swayzak?
Yeah, he was the...
Sounds like a fake Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No, but the finale of Backdraft...
amazing.
It was wild as a kid to see that.
J.T. Walsh. Yeah,
you know him. You know him.
He was in The Negotiator.
Sure, yeah. Yes, he was, yeah. See, he was like the corrupt... Yeah. That was his bread and butter, man. And he played it a lot and often and well. Every once in a while he got a sympathetic part. He also would play like mentally deficient people sometimes. You didn't know if they were dangerous. Like
he was in Breakdown.
Oh, that was a creepy fucking movie.
Yeah, Breakdown was good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's Kurt Russell.
That was a good one. That was Kurt Russell. Yeah. That was a good one. I liked that one. Yeah, because I remember that now. Kurt Russell in his tan jacket. Yeah. If you haven't seen that, check that out. Breakdown. That's a great fucking thriller from the 90s. I always get that one mixed up with that Patrick Swayze trucker movie. Dog. Black Dog.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
No, it wasn't. It was Black Dog.
Oh, okay.
And
I never saw Black Dog.
And then there's that other movie with Kiefer Sutherland where his wife disappears on the road. But she ends up being killed by Lebowski, who's a serial killer.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was. He screams Diane a lot. A lot of Diane. Backdraft. What's your favorite part of Backdraft?
A Backdraft? Oh man, I think whatever part. See, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but whatever part it is when they're all hanging from the inside of some building, and Kurt Russell gives that line where he's like holding up Billy Baldwin. He's like, "If you go, we go." Like that scene is nuts.
That when he's holding Billy Baldwin, that's toward the beginning, but then there's the other one toward the end.
I think I'm thinking of the one at the end.
I remember he falls and hits that pipe, and then you see his side all torn open and shit real quick. And oh my God, it makes me cringe just thinking about it now. And that's what it fucks you up too, because Kurt Russell isn't supposed to die in movies. He dies at the end of that, and it fucks you up as a kid. They made a sequel to this. Don't ever watch it. Just don't do it to yourself.
Okay.
I did it for you. Don't do it.
I'll take your word for it.
This is one of those instances where I'm running point. I'm your canary in the coal mine, and that one will kill you.
I appreciate you.
Don't do it. Just watch Outbreak instead.
Outbreak.
Again.
I liked Outbreak.
Backdraft 2 actually has a 4.9 on IMDb. That's upsetting. God damn, it was so bad.
You think that's too high?
Yeah. They actually they got Donald Sutherland out of the old folks' home to be in it. And they got Billy Baldwin back too. He's all bloated and shit, and he's a lieutenant now. You can tell they filmed all this shit on the same day because it's all in his office. Like every scene he's in is like in his office, and he's on the phone most of the time. Like you feel like they just got him like sober enough for a day. I don't know if he has drug problems or nothing. I'm just making shit up. I don't know Billy Baldwin. He's not going to hear this, so it's okay. Everyone, calm down. But yeah, that's the cast. That's all the cast you'll recognize. Joe Anderson is the lead. He's Sean McCann. Yeah, he plays. He plays Kurt Russell's son. Grown up.
Oh, so it's like Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, sure.
And It's basically Top Gun Maverick.
I'm trying to think of what this guy was in that you would know. Did you ever see The Ruins, that horror movie?
No.
You should.
Yeah, good one.
It's one of the few movies my wife won't watch because it creeps her out so bad.
Ooh, that bad?
It is good. It has some serious body horror shit, along with some just genuinely creepy shit. It's gross and scary. Yeah, check that out. 2008, The Ruins, 2008. He was in that. Did you ever see The Crazies with?
I have seen The Crazies.
Yeah, with the Oliphant.
Well, that was a remake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but have you seen the remake? Yeah.
I saw the original. I didn't see the remake.
You should see the remake. It's very good. It kind of got lost in the shuffle of all the zombie shit that was coming out at the time, because it came out in 2010, and that was
zombie time.
Yeah, right in the peak there with Walking Dead, and after Dawn of the Dead came out, and the slew of everything that came out after that. Jesus Christ! But
Zombieland.
It was one of the better ones from that weird
and they
time.
Weren't zombies.
Yeah, it was very different. They behaved differently. The rules were different, so it was actually scarier because they retained some of their human personality, but it was twisted in like a fucked up way all the time. And it's good gross scenes and lots of good zombie action. And he was Russell, the deputy, who was with them the whole time. The guy from Backdraft 2.
Yeah.
And have you seen The Gray? Have you seen The Gray?
What, Liam Neeson?
Yeah, with the wolves.
When he fist fights a wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that.
All right. We should talk about that someday. I have a theory about that movie.
I bet you do. That movie.
What is that supposed to mean?
No, it's nothing against you. Like, that movie would just, was, I don't know, it was a little weird.
Yeah.
It just what a strange movie. Like, man shoots wolves, man gets on plane crashes, man winds up fighting a wolf.
I have a theory that makes it make sense, because it is weird, and there are weird moments. But I do have a theory. We'll get into it one day.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
How long ago did you see it?
Oh, years.
It's been a while.
I remember it pretty well, though. I remember it enough.
Oh, do you? Do you?
Yeah, I think I remember enough.
Okay.
I remember that he tapes a bunch of airplane bottles to his fists and breaks them to make spiky knuckles.
Because apparently on that airline they still used glass airplane bottles, which I don't think they've used since like the 80s.
Maybe they were leftovers.
You're leftovers, man.
Yeah, I've been called worse.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what else to talk about. I think that's we had a little backdraft short in there. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything on those two movies. That was good.
It's funny, like that just turned into like an impromptu episode. Like, we didn't plan that at all. It was like we were both watching these movies like, what the fuck is happening?
I couldn't believe the similarities once you pointed out the first couple. They kept mounting as I watched Tokyo.
Kept coming.
Because I know Tango and Cash pretty well, just because, it's been around for a long time. And I have problems.
I have problems.
Did you ever see Assassins with Antonio Banderas?
I've seen Assassins.
I would like to do something about him at some point.
Antonio?
Yeah, like Desperado and Assassins and
fucking love Desperado.
I know. Like I
love that movie.
He was everywhere when we were young. Like coming up,
Desperado,
Zorro. He did the Zorro movie.
Assassins.
He did that one with
Evita.
Angelina Jolie when she got her boobies out. Original Sin. I believe it was called Original Sin.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was steamy.
He was in Evita.
Evita, yeah. He was in lots of stuff before he started doing the Shrek movies, the voice acting, and Expendables.
Oh, that's right.
I always liked Assassins. People shit on it, and like not even as a Stallone movie. I just kind of like it. I don't know. I like the guns in it.
There's
I always
lots of
wanted to make that.
sniper stuff in that movie.
Did you stop?
No, not yet. You want me to?
I don't know. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Not really. I mean, the only thing is like, do you want to like end it? Because we kind of just, we kind of like trailed off and started talking
Tango
about
and
that.
Cash. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the only other thing I would mention.
All right. I got something. I think we can.
Okay.
All right. So one last thing about these cinematic gems of Tango and Cash and Last Showdown in Tokyo Town.
Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Okay, so you had a choice to watch one or the other again. Which one would you watch?
Well, probably Tango and Cash, because I only saw it once, and I just watched Showdown in Little Tokyo for what I'm sure is like the 70th time. I've seen this movie a lot, but I think Tango and Cash is a better movie. But I have a lot of soft spots for Showdown in Little Tokyo, but Tango and Cash, it's Kurt Russell. You know me. I have a weird thing about Kurt Russell. He's in all my favorite shit. So
I get it. I think I would watch it. I think same reasoning kind of. I think I would watch Showdown again, but probably only once more. Because I just want to see if I can. Yeah, I want to see if I can catch any more crazy bits of dialogue that I didn't catch the first time, or notice any other weirdness. But yeah, they were both fun in the same weird way, and like you said, it's one is just like a weird, low budget mirror, like alternate universe version of the other. And,
man, it makes me feel like somebody got a script for Showdown in Little Tokyo. And then whoever was like the producer was just like, just do Tango and Cash. Just make it Tango and Cash.
Just shorter.
I don't care what you have to do. Cut what you have to cut. Make it Tango and Cash.
And then they got an X rating probably because they showed Dolph's dong. And
right.
They had to cut it all up and make it shitty. All right. Tango, Cash, and the two characters we're never going to remember their names. Just Dolph and Brandon Lee.
He-Man and the Crow.
He-Man and the Crow and Tango and Cash. Tango and Cash. What? Ray Tango. What a fucking name, man. That's the other thing people should be aware of. Stallone has an exceptional talent for having the worst character names in some of all of Hollywood history for an A-list actor. I'm just saying. And I love the guy.
John Rambo?
That's tame compared to some of the shit that he had. Like
Rocky Balboa?
Well, calm down. Give me a second. I don't remember everything. I'm old. My brains are full of worms and COVID.
Ray Tango. What was his name in Cobra?
Marion Cobretti.
Marion Cobretti.
Marion Cobretti. Barney Ross. All right. That's his name in the Expendables movies.
In the Expendables, yeah. I think I knew that.
Ray Breslin. That's his name in the Escape Plan movies because he looks like a Ray.
Breslin.
Ray Breslin. Ray Breslin. I'm going back through, so it takes a while because there's a lot of shit to sift through. Henry Razor Sharp. All right.
What is that?
That was in that awful Grudge Match movie he did with De Niro, where they're boxers, where he's a boxer who isn't Rocky.
Yo, what was his name in Over the Top?
Oh, you're killing me. I don't remember. It's the same as Mike's kid, Lincoln Hawk.
Lincoln Hawk.
Lincoln Hawk. Yeah, right in a row. He was Marion Cobretti and then Lincoln Hawk.
That's amazing. That's my favorite one. Lincoln Hawk.
Yeah, Ray Tango, Angelo Provolone.
Is that from Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
It sure is. No, Angelo Provolone is from Oscar, and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. His name was Joe Bamowski. Stupid fucking shit. Gabe Walker was Cliffhanger. Demolition Man, he was John Spartan.
Oh, John Spartan. Yeah.
John Spartan, you will find 3 credits for loyalty statute. Ray Quick in The Specialist. Judge Dredd. Here, Robert Rath from Assassins. Robert Rath.
How do you spell Rath?
R-A-T-H, baby. Like the wrath of God, but without a W.
Robert Rath.
Kit Latura. Kit Latura. I'm not making this shit up. That's from Daylight.
Names.
1996 Daylight. That was the movie about the Holland Tunnel collapsing.
I remember. Dude, I was on a road trip with my sisters, and we had to go through a tunnel like to get from Maryland to Virginia. And as we're like going through the tunnel, my sister just goes, "Hey, Tommy, you remember Daylight?" Like, why would you bring that up now? We're in the fucking tunnel. God.
It's like I won't watch any movies with a plane crash for like a while before I fly. I just don't want that shit in my head. So he was Freddie Heflin in Copland. That's pretty normal.
Yeah, okay.
Jack Carter and Get Carter. Then in that awful Formula One racing movie he did, Driven. He was Joe Tonto, which might be racist. I don't know.
These are bad.
Frankie Delano. That was a movie no one remembers. Avenging Angelo. It was terrible.
Yeah,
that was in his dark time.
I've never seen it.
It was in his dark time. He did that awful poker movie called Shade.
I saw Shade. You made me watch
Shade.
Shade.
Did we watch that? Yeah, that was from 2003. Yeah.
You liked that movie.
It had a charm. I was into gambling movies at the time. I was watching that and Rounders.
Dude, we watched that movie, and like as we're watching it, we figured out like, holy shit, Stallone's not in the same room with any of these guys. They filmed his scenes like separately.
Pretty sure they did, yeah.
There's all these hard cuts, and you could tell they're not in the same room.
Yeah, it wasn't a high budget flick, but it had an oddly peppered cast. Thandie Newton was in it when she was young. Gabriel Byrne was the lead.
Stuart Townsend.
Yeah, Stuart Townsend, Gabriel Byrne were the leads. Jamie Foxx had a small part. I don't know. It's one of those. It's a weird one. I don't know how it came about or why. It feels like it once had a big budget and then suddenly did not. That's what I'm going to say. But yeah, I was watching that and Rounders and what's that other one? Boiler Room. Yeah.
Boiler Room.
And Casino.
I never saw Boiler Room.
You've seen Casino, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, none of this has anything to do with Tango and Cash or Showdown in Little Tokyo, but Stallone had some weird fucking character names, man.
Ray Tango.
Yeah, none of them really fit him. And after that, he just didn't do much. He just kept going back from Barney Ross to John Rambo and back to Rocky again. But Kit Latura, I think, is the worst.
Kit Latura?
Kit Latura. Latura. Get it right.
I mean, Angelo Provolone's pretty bad.
Yeah, but at least that was a comedy.
Well,
I haven't seen...
My favorite
I saw Oscar
Lincoln
once.
Hawk.
Lincoln Hawk is a badass name.
Lincoln Hawk is ridiculous.
People can hate on Over the Top as much as you want, but you know what? It was over the top, and it was fantastic. I love it. I love that stupid
it's like
movie.
when I turn my hat around, it's like
Stupid.
somebody flips a switch, you know.
It's so dumb, but I love it. I love the stupid scene in the diner where the giant bald-headed guy is egging him on, and the kid gets all. It's just so dumb. The kid runs out in traffic because he's so upset that his dad's such a loser. And then the kid just magically can beat like an 18-year-old. And I don't know. I love it. He's got
that hawk blood, man.
You got that hawk blood, baby, and then all of a sudden you're in Vegas and it's a fucking tournament. It's a whole different movie. I feel like Jack Palance should have been the bad guy in that too, but he wasn't. That was what's his name? Another Italian cat.
Chaz Palminteri.
No, you scumbag.
I'm just naming Italian people.
It's racist, I think. I don't know. I don't know what's racist. Robert Loggia.
Oh, Robert Loggia.
He was in all kinds of shit. All right. Well, Over the Top is a discussion for another day. Today we just bask in the glory that is Ray Tango, Gabriel Cash.
And then Detective
Brandon Lee and
Brenner?
Detective Dolph Lundgren. He can smell
Brenner
crime.
and Johnny Murata.
All right, kids. Thanks for joining us.